Hello there. What is going on, everybody? News about Wave 4. It is delayed. We're going to talk about this and what implications it might have. I also want to remind you guys that there is still time left to enter the latest giveaway for the Black Series Maul and Obi-Wan Star Wars Celebration exclusive. All you have to do to enter to win those is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. That is going to be running until the end of the month. All right, everybody. So Wave 4 for X-Wing is delayed, and it was very, very close. I actually have a pre-order in on several of these ships, although admittedly not all of them. I think I left off the Falcon and the Decimator. I didn't really need those, but at least right now. I may check them out if it looks like that they're going to be different sculpts, but they look like they're pretty much the same thing. That being said, yeah, Wave 4 is officially delayed. So what's going on? Well, unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot to talk about right here because I'll give you the story, but we don't really have much information. But I'll tell you what we do know. Some eagle-eyed X-Wing players did point out that, hey, all of a sudden it looks like the June 6th release date that was kind of put at the bottom of some of the recent articles is suddenly not there anymore. So what happened is they just kind of edited out those articles and just said, well, this will be coming out when it comes out. For example, the N1 Starfighter, if you go to the bottom of that, it just says this will release alongside the rest of Wave 4, but there's no date there to talk about. So what does this mean? A lot of people might be thinking that this might have something to do with the tariff policy. I'm not sure if that is really because of the tariffs or if it's unrelated to that, just because that's still supposed to be next month, late June before that is finalized. So that may or may not have actually played a part in this delay. What is interesting, though, is FFG did confirm via Twitter that Wave 4 is delayed, but they have not said anything further than that. I did reach out to PR at Asmodee North America, and we'll see if I get anything. As of right now, I haven't heard anything back yet, but I imagine they're probably swamped with a lot of emails and inquiries related to this, and there's probably only so much they're actually able to talk about, because you might look at this and say, well, why can't you just be transparent with us? Well, there's a lot of reasons why they couldn't be transparent. One, I'm going to make up a scenario here just to illustrate the way that this type of thing works. Let's just say they're having a factory problem. If it's some type of factory or production problem, they don't want to announce that to the world and make that public information, because now all of a sudden their competitors can potentially take advantage of that. It's like, oh, well, they're having factory problems. Now let's pitch our idea to Lucasfilm because we'll never have factory problems or something like that. So, if it's some kind of breakdown in the chain or whatever, they don't want to advertise that problem because that's kind of like advertising a weakness. And the truth is, I'm okay with there being a problem because, hey, we're all humans. People make mistakes. Things happen. It's just the nature of business is there is bound to be problems that creep up from time to time, especially those that are based on nature. Maybe a ship sank somewhere and it had like all of the N1 starfighters on it or something like that. You never know. And I'm not trying to spread rumors about a ship sinking. I'm saying that purely hypothetically. The point is, we don't really know what's going on at this point, but we do know that the delay is confirmed and there is no, replacement date as of yet. Realistically, I can tell you it will probably come out before Wave 5. That's not like really too far off of a projection. I think we'll probably see it before Gen Con, because I have been predicting that I thought Wave 5 might be an early Gen Con release. Maybe, not 100%. But if this is delayed, my then big question is, what else is going to end up being delayed? And if this is a tariff issue, we're likely to see multiple other products get delayed. If we notice a delay on Legion things, and we notice another delay on perhaps Armada's Super Star Destroyer, then we might be able to equate that to possibly being related to tariffs, possibly something else altogether. Maybe if it's a product, a problem with paint, then maybe we would see that it affects X-Wing and Armada, but not Legion or other things that get painted. If it's a problem with cards, then maybe it would affect just about everything except for perhaps like the RPG. Now, the RPG book just came out just fine 2 weeks ago. And so we got the new RPG book, The Rise of the Separatists, that source book. Pretty cool too. Actually, just start a new RPG up. So it's not like FFG can't get product out. Product is still being released. So there's really no sure insight as to what is causing this. But it's interesting to kind of compare this to the recent Superstar Destroyer delay. And we still don't know exactly what caused that delay, but it has definitely been speculated that a lot of the delays with the Superstar Destroyer are a result of them trying to make this huge model. That's basically the biggest thing they could ever do. And we also know that they've been working on this ever since Wave 2 of Star Wars Armada. So years this thing has been tried. They have tried and tried to make this thing. And there looks like it's finally being made right now. At Star Wars Celebration, they did have the production sample, which is like that first production copy. And it's like a proof. And the way a production sample works is basically they'll send the files to the print shop or wherever it is, and they'll basically get ready to create them all. But before they do the full print run of, let's say, I'll use X-Wing for example. Before they do the print run, they'll say, all right, well, we're going to make one B-Wing, and maybe we'll make a few, like maybe one or two B-Wings or whatever, and we're going to send them off to different people to look at them, make sure that they look good, and they'll send it to, so FFG will get a production sample, and they'll say, all right, well, this looks good, and then they can give feedback. Oh, well, the problem is we need the gun's too big, and then they'll send it back, and they'll go through a back and forth for a little bit until they get like the final version, what they think is the final version. And so when they get that final version, they'll print out everything. They'll print out the packaging, the ship, everything that's going to come inside of it. They'll do one version of each, send it back to FFG. They'll be able to look at it and say, okay, this looks good. We're going to give you the thumbs up to go ahead and commence production. And from what it looks like, and basically what they had said at the panel at Star Wars Celebration, that they had that first production copy of the Superstar Destroyer. So, and I'm assuming that was probably one of the things that caused the delay. That might be the same thing that caused the delay here with X-Wing's Wave 4. It'll be really interesting to see how far they push this back, though, because if this gets pushed back to Wave 5, there's a big part of me that wonders if that's going to really impact the sales that it could generate. Reason being, there's so many ships in this wave, and Wave 5 has a lot of ships too, but a lot of reprints. And I imagine there's certain sales projections that FFG expects to make, and of course having a wave delayed means that people aren't buying it because it's not on store shelves yet, so they technically can't buy it. But the other thing that I think that this kind of throws out there is there's probably a lot of ships that people are on the fence about. And, maybe you've only got, $50 to spend. And if this were to come out, you'd be like, well, I really want to fly Separatists, so I'll get that Hyena bomber, but I have $50 to spend. So, I'll get I'll try a new B-Wing and an N1 starfighter, and, or something like that. Maybe you got $60 to spend. But my point is, you can only buy so much. Well, now if Wave 4 and Wave 5 end up getting pushed and they end up coming out at the same day, we saw that with Armada, Wave 3 and Wave 4 came out the same day, that now all of a sudden, now I can't afford to buy this, and this, because there's also a new Separatist ship and I need to get that also. So, that's basically something that could impact everything. It's like, oh, I want to get the Hyena bomber, but if I want to get whatever else, if I want to get something else from Wave 5, I can't necessarily buy as many things from Wave 4, so a lot of stuff that might have been sold might go unsold. Another example, another potential bad part of this is B-Wings. Like, I personally was planning on upgrading all of my B-Wings to the new model because they've improved this one so much. But at the same time, if Wave 4 and Wave 5 come out at the same day, or if they both come out at Gen Con, for example, I'm not going to be able to buy a whole lot of B-Wings. I'll probably just buy one and be done with it. So, this is also really, I think, has a big impact on the people that want to buy multiples of something. Because another reason is, even if money's not that much of an issue for you, if you can afford X-Wing, healthily, is that a word? Healthily. If you can more readily afford X-Wing as your gaming habit, let's say you play one faction. Let's say you just play Resistance, and you were like, oh, I want that new Resistance transport shuttle. Well, if you only have Wave 4 to hold you down for the next couple of months, you're probably more likely to buy multiples of that just to try out different lists with it, because you'll be like, all right, I've already played all the Republic or the Resistance ships they have already. I played X-Wings and A-Wings and the new Falcon until I'm blue in the eye and the Resistance bomber even. but now I want to try transport stuff. So it adds a whole new flavor to the Resistance. But now you're like, well, we've got something else coming out. Maybe Resistance is a bad example because I don't think Wave 5 has any new Resistance ships. I'll use the Republic, for example, and one Starfighter. I expect a lot of people might be tempted to buy 3 N1 Starfighters because of that whole, Amidala with her handmaidens and that kind of thing, right? But if you've also got to buy a Y-wing, and maybe you'll only buy one N1 and one Y-wing, and then experiment with all the list possibilities there, and you'd be less incentivized to just try to come up with like full N1 swarm builds because you've got even another brand new ship to experiment with. So you're probably, there were probably going to be some people who just say, instead of buying the extra ship, I'll just roll it over and get the Wave 5 ship since they're out the same day. And this also can kind of let some people end up in a place where they're afraid about the future of the game, because when you have 2 waves that launch like really close to each other, it's going to make the distance between the next wave feel even bigger, even if it's the same amount of time. If it's typical to have 6 months in between a wave, but then you get 2 waves on the same day, that 6 months is going to feel so much more empty because you just had so much and now you have nothing for a while. And so that can be another detriment. We saw a little bit of that with Armada. They had grouped up certain releases very close to each other, and then there was big dead spots like after Wave 2. We didn't get anything of that. Wave 3 and Wave 4, it was almost a full, I think it was actually just over a full year between the very first preview of Wave 2 and the very first preview of Wave 3. So, and a lot of that, I believe, in retrospect, had to do with that Superstar Destroyer kind of being in production but not being ready. But having too much stuff really close together just makes the space in between, get similarly feel void. Now, what they might do is also push back Wave 5. I wouldn't be surprised. And let me know in the comments below if you think that Wave 5 may also be pushed back as a result of this. Will it have a domino effect and push everything back? Or do you think that maybe there was just a production mishap on maybe 1 or 2 ships that just said, you know what, let's just put the whole wave on hold? Also, I would like to know from you guys what your opinion is. If it's a case like, let's just say the Millennium Falcon has a problem, and in the production model maybe they wanted the new Falcon to have Lando's shuttle dock into it, because the other ones right now, they don't fit just right, and maybe they made a design change here, right? And let's just say there's a problem with it. Would you be okay with them releasing everything else except the Millennium Falcon? This way you at least get your new faction stuff, but not that one ship. Like how would you feel about them doing like a half wave release or a partial wave release? Would that be unfair to players who want a Falcon that can't get one? Is it worth doing that? Is it worth pushing back the whole wave from your perspective? I'd love to hear from you guys on that. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. That's all I've got for you guys for today. I will talk to you some more tomorrow. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and also thank my new patrons on Patreon. You guys are awesome. Look for a new giveaway starting very, very soon. I want to thank you all so much, and have a great day.